part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
That sound means it's time for Cavs on the Break NBA podcast from the Press Play Podcast Network. I'm your host, Chase Smith, and I'm going solo tonight. The team has cleared the floor. They're going to let me do work. I'm just kidding. No one wants that. But I do want to give you all, our faithful listeners, those on the Cavs on the Break team, an idea of what the summer schedule looks like for us and the Cavs. As soon as the finals are over and it's wrapped up next week, we're going to record a pod, someone's going to record a pod, me, John, someone, probably John and Sam and Jeremy, maybe around the third week of June, about just a finals recap and what that means in the state of the NBA. The fourth week of June, the first week of July, because the 23rd is the NBA draft. We're going to do a draft recap and a Cavs Fit episode coming to your feed on the Cavs on the Break. June 30th is the start of NBA free agency. So we'll be back then, maybe the first week of July as well, maybe fit that in a draft recap episode or after, offering our insights and analysis on big moves and any moves the Cavs make. July 7th to the 17th is Summer League. We'll be back around then to talk about Cavs players, the purpose of Summer League and what all that means. And then that'll lead us to training camp and media day. And let me tell you, we have got you covered on Cavs on the Break. But wait, there's more. Everyone loves a but. And we all hear all of that, all of our scheduling, and that sounds great, and it's going to be great, and you're going to love it. But we want to give you more incredible talent, more incredible content, more info, more analysis, and more basketball. We all love more basketball, but it's one thing that we've learned about the NBA is that the NBA and basketball never sleeps. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring over Taylor Vanderbilt, the college basketball expert here at Press Play Podcast. And we're going to bring him actually as a part of the Cavs on the Break team. Over the next 2 weeks, he's going to be bringing you episodes breaking down some of your favorite college basketball draftees and what that could mean. Maybe they're players you heard of before. Maybe they're not, and that's okay. Taylor has, and that's all that matters. He's going to be joining us for the post-draft show and our Cavs Fit show. And then throughout the summer and leading up to basketball season, Taylor will be posting special college basketball episodes of the Cavs on the Break called the Full 40 College Basketball Podcast. This will still be on the Cavs on the Break feed. It will simply be an extra podcast, extra shows on this existing feed, kind of like an and one, if you want to think of it in basketball terms. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to subscribe to another podcast. It's all going to be on Cavs on the Break. Taylor's just going to be uploading his college basketball expertise on Cavs on the Break. You're going to know it's him because it's going to say the Full 40 College Basketball Podcast. And joining me tonight, Taylor Vanderbilt. Taylor, welcome to the team, man. Like, I know you're on the P3 team, but welcome to Cavs on the Break team, man.
Man, glad to be here. It's fun to kind of be a part of this whole thing. I hope that my expertise in the great sport that is college basketball will be useful to you guys, not only for the draft, but going forward, even looking into next year's draft to, maybe have a better idea of who you want going into next year. So you can maybe push Dan Gilbert, draft this guy or this guy. Hopefully y'all aren't that high on the lottery like you normally are. So
Right. What's great about this is Taylor isn't necessarily a Cleveland fan. He's not really from Cleveland either. So what he gives you will be completely objective, non-biased information about college basketball. He does have a favorite college team. I'll let you figure that and discover that out on your own. But what Taylor's going to bring here on Cavs on the Break is going to be completely free for you. So stay subscribed with us. It'll come straight to your phone. And let me tell you, Taylor is awesome. He hosts, like I said, the Full 40 College Basketball Podcast on Press Play, and it is so good. We want to share his goodness with more people. Taylor, thinking back to this year's college basketball tournament, like, you weren't surprised about North Carolina's success.
So I'd say it's twofold. I wasn't surprised about their success because I understood who was on the team. As an ACC guy, I'll just go.
They were underrated all year.
Yeah, they were underrated all year. I'm a Duke fan. Just throw that out there.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
so it hurts. But they're underrated pretty much the entire year just because they weren't playing up to their potential. It kind of reminds me of for an NBA fan, the Celtics, right? Celtics started out the year very, very slow. We were like,
both fan bases insufferable.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. I'm also a Heat fan, so I'm dealing with that as well. But so they started off real slow. They were losing games they weren't supposed to. They were like, they'll get it together by ACC play, and it just didn't seem that way. But towards the end of the season, they started putting stringing wins together. They had a good showing in the a solid showing in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, well, they had a strong end of the season, like you said.
Yeah. Now, what I will say their draw helped them out tremendously. Having to play a Baylor team who was hurt. Basically, two of their best players were hurt. Then essentially drawing St. Peter's as well. That's right. They draw St. Peter's as well. Whereas my team had to go through Arkansas and Texas Tech. It was murderer's row. So I believe their draw helped, but that's the way the tournament falls sometimes. So I really thought that they were going to close it out as much as I didn't want them to. I was really surprised to see Kansas. I just didn't think they were going to beat North Carolina with all the momentum they had, especially that big win.
Especially after that first half. That first half was all Tar Heels.
Yeah, I actually turned the game off. And I love college basketball, but I was like, man, I could watch something else, do something else with my time. And
so wait, how did you become a Duke fan? You grew up in Tennessee.
Yeah.
You went to college in Tennessee. How did you become a Duke fan?
So for me, Tennessee basketball has never been a big deal in my life. Memphis basketball is actually more important to me than Tennessee basketball because my whole family is Memphis fans, with the exception of one uncle or two uncles, excuse me. One of my uncles who I'm very close to, he's a Duke fan. He's also a Broncos fan. So that's kind of like my allegiance. We're real close. So that's kind of where that came from. And then just growing up over time, I went to Duke basketball camp. So I've met Coach K. I've met like Kyle Singler, just guys who've just been on the team over the course of years. And it just kind of became me, if you will. It's a part of me through and through. Like I truly do bleed blue. So I'm still hurting a little bit, but
I'm sure losing that final game at Cameron Indoor didn't sit right, and then to get bounced by them again in the tournament was just, it's one of the most storied rivals in sports, and I'm sure that was difficult. I don't want to labor any longer because I can see it's still a little sore, and I wouldn't want to labor on that.
Well, to make a trifecta, so I saw the game at Cameron, they lost that. I was at the ACC championship game and we lost to Virginia Tech.
That's right.
And then I proceeded to say I was planning on going to the Final Four. Then things came up. All of a sudden they played North Carolina, and I was a nervous wreck the entire week. Didn't talk to anybody really about it. I was just like, hey, this is what it is. But hey, it's in the past. We got Shire in there now, so it won't happen again. That's
good.
All I know.
Well, hey, I'm super excited to have you with us, man. You do a great job on the Full 40. What can we expect? I said we were going to, hear some, player preview episodes. What do you expect your kind of time with the Cavs on the Break team to look like over the next 6 or so months?
So what I hope to provide is just like a supplement, because I understand a lot of NBA fans are not necessarily.
It's an and one.
Yes, and one counted. I didn't get my and one in my men's league game earlier tonight, so I'm a little upset about that.
Oh, no.
I digress. But no, yeah, I want to just supplement the Cavs on the Break podcast because, like I said, I know a lot of NBA fans aren't necessarily hardcore college fans like myself. And you want to kind of know who's playing for your team. If I'm a Cavs fan and I'm thinking, the top guys, the Jabari Smiths, the Paulos, the Chets, but who can we draft? Who's going to change our team? Who's going to be the next Darius Garland, say, or even, someone like a Jared Allen who's a young big who's going to be there for a while. So it's going to be an interesting draft. I think there's a lot of good players in this draft personally. So that's what I hope to provide. Cool. And then also as well, going forward, just especially with summer league and things like that, just kind of keeping you abreast of, I guess from a college perspective of these players. And, if they struggle, saying like, well, they struggled like this in college, so it's nothing new. that kind of thing. So that's what I hope to provide to the Cavs on the break.
Love it. Love it. Love it. It's crazy. Is it fair to say that Pat McAfee connected us? Is that a stretch, or is that fair?
I would say that that's how that happened.
And we'll just end it at that. So shouts to Pat for making this possible.
Yeah, shout out to Pat. That was the craziest kind of ordeal I've personally ever had. It worked out so great. I'm here now and, doing shows, and I love it. But yeah, no, shout out to Pat for that.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, and shouts to you, man, for being game for this. We're always looking to resource and just put our host in the best position. And the full 40 is great, but man, we just want to continue to blast your name out there, man. And you do great work. And there's a couple times of the year when college basketball is in the spotlight. It's the middle of June for the draft and the end of February, start of March for March Madness. So we're excited to have you with us over these next few months, and looking forward for all that, man. Well, that does it for this quick episode of Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Thank you all so much for downloading and listening. Shouts to the Press Play Podcast Network for making this possible. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Cavs on the Break. We always follow back. And shouts to Taylor for hopping on the team here and making this possible. Taylor, any final thoughts, man?
Yeah, I'll give a little sneak peek. So, I like to source mock drafts and looked at them. It kind of helped me create my own.
Yes. You're gonna give us one here in a couple days.
Yeah. I'm working on it. I think it'll be more of like a top a lottery draft, just a mock lottery.
Yep.
But in saying that, at 14, I believe is the Cleveland Cavaliers. So
sure.
Just a sneak peek.
Yep.
There's a guy out there I like who went to a school I like by the name of Adrian Griffin Jr.
Okay.
Or AJ Griffin. Really like him. 6'8", can shoot it. Probably the best shooter in college basketball, in my opinion.
Well, he won't last to 14 if that's the case.
Well, see, that it's the thing. I've seen him go in the lottery. I've seen him go to 14 or early in the lottery, top 5 and at 14. But I think he can make it down that way just because of how his college career ended at Duke. His tournament wasn't great. So we shall see. But that's a guy I like at 14 that if he's still there, gives catch and shooting, gives him some defense, and he's sneaky athletic as well. So, it might change here in the next couple of days, but that's just what I got right now.
Well, that would fit a need for sure. And excited to see what this looks like. Mike Breen, take us out.
Congratulations, Cleveland. Your decades-long wait is finally over. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.